Dude, I love this system though. Like this system, they did. I love this. Like I do wonder how they're gonna do a proper progression system on this, because like it could get to the point where you don't know what the progression is or what you're gonna get from the progression on this, because eventually there's gonna be a point in time where you have like too many going on and you have too many resources, but there's not enough to use these resources, because you can infinitely get resources here. We're getting to the point where you're AFK farming. Okay, so here's the combat, right? I think what the combat needs is a lot more impact on like when you're doing your hits, because right now it feels like the mobs feel too stanky and just not enough. Yeah, okay, so that's the all right. So here's the, let me show you guys right here. This is the defensive, this is what I had to do to kind of defensive maneuver myself, right? All right, so this boss is doing this like there's a red animation happening, and I had to cast my skill to actually counter them, to knock them down, because but then the thing is, like, that's the thing, that's a skill for a unit to counter it. So basically I had to save a unit skill instead of using it offensively. I had to save it for defensively to knock down the enemy, to prevent them from like doing that, like, you know, special move that they had. And then there's a break gauge in there, and then the boss or the enemy will get stunned whenever you destroy their break gauge. And I really like that everyone is in there, like around. This is actually pretty it feels different. I like the AIs are around. However, I do think that they should make it so that we have more control on the AI. I think that's one good thing, yeah, that they improvement that you could do. Need to time the defensive skills, yeah. I think it would be better if they start putting two types of skills for each character, because right now each character only has one type of skill. And so okay, so let me explain the UI a little bit here. So you see here, it might be a little bit difficult to see, but there's bars here on the skill. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that corresponds to each character. The moment you use one skill 1, your main character will swap if you use skill 1, that's your main that's the first character in your position. It'll use that character skill. If you use skill 2, it will use the second character skill. If you use skill 3, that you will use the third character skill. They only have one skill. There's no ultimate, except when this bar is, so each skill has like a certain amount of bars. Each time you use this skill, it gets like a proc of a bar. So this skill 2, it's 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. So basically, if you use it 6 times, the I think the 7th time that you use it, it's gonna have like an empowered. So that basically it's forced to use the ultimate skill. And then the third, this one for this third character, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you use the skill 4 times for this character, the 5th one will be like their ultimate. Let's see if I can show it. Oh, here, hold up. Let's see. I think I'm gonna use my Angelina's AoE here. Let's see. Okay, so right there on the skill 3 right now is like max. So now it becomes an ultimate. And then there, when you use that skill, then they'll do like their ultimate skill. So so yeah, it's a different kind of way restriction on this, but I really enjoyed it. Initially it felt weird to me, like playing it initially, like not having that dodge and parry felt really bad, but the more I got used to it, the more I enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure other people didn't like it as much because they're too used to Unga Bunga. They're too used to Unga Bungaing their, like, oh, I'm gonna click and spam skills whenever it's cooldown and then use my defensive skills. But this one was felt different because whenever I was like fighting the bosses, I had to be more strategic on when I'm using the skills. And let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find the boss part. That one's a boss, I think. Yeah, okay, this one's a boss. I definitely, the bosses have like bigger, obviously like longer stagger bar. There's a stagger bar up here. Yeah, they had more stagger bars. And yeah, so I'm like right there. I had to time my, again, like time my skills to counter it so that he doesn't do that. The stagger bar, you, in order to decrease the stagger bar, you have to use a skill. So it's actually, so that's the thing. You have to conserve your skill, one, for defensive maneuver to knock them down. Some units have knockdown, some have lift up, some doesn't have any. So in those, another is because each time you use a skill, even if it doesn't have any knockback or anything like that, it still will reduce down the stagger bar. So you have to use your skill, one, to save it for knockdowns or countering, and then two, you still have to make sure to constantly use it so that you can keep dropping their stagger bar. So yeah, there's a lot of, I guess, decision making that you had to put in on the skill usage. And yeah, dodging, the, like right there, I can't really dodge. I have to like make sure I wasn't attacking, so that I don't die, obviously, and don't get hit. And you have to avoid, like, yeah, so if you want to dodge, you have to kind of preemptively run away from the enemy. Yeah, or there, stagger bar's done. That, okay, this is one downside, like the stagger bar, it recovers too fast for this one. That felt too bad. Yeah, so if you want to dodge, you have to kind of avoid attacking for a little bit. But again, the more I got used to the combat, the more I enjoyed it though. And uh I actually enjoyed it. I don't know what to tell you because it felt different. It wasn't like a spammy, like, even in Withering Waves and Genshin, it was kind of the same thing. I know Withering Waves, you have like the parry and shit, right? But the way you're kind of doing or executing the combat felt samey to some certain degree. You're just like spamming your skills. You're doing these rotations that are just like you have to do it in a specific order always in Withering Waves and Genshin. Or not that you have to always do it. Yeah. Oh. By the way, yeah, I forgot about that. You could dodge. You could dodge those skills just by jumping, and I think that's actually how you're supposed to dodge that, not like run away. So there's actually some verticality that I found useful for dodging the dodging the enemy skills, and this is not the only instance where I used to actually jump to dodge the boss. I had to, I think one of the other final bosses, I actually had to jump. And that's because, I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense because like you don't have the dodge. You don't have the dodge and the parry system, right? And so you have to dodge it in a more creative way. Contrary to other people's complaints about not having parry or dodge, I actually enjoyed it. And I do think that if they think that that's the right gameplay, I think they should stick to it. I actually do. I think they should stick to their if they think that that's gonna be an identity of the game. I think they should, because it's more about like the more you understand the combat and the more that you find creative ways to actually do the combat on this game, I found more enjoying. It's one of those games where it has a lot of restrictions to your movement, but that restriction don't make it bad. At least that's the way I felt like when I was like playing it. And I might be hyping it too much, but I think the main thing about it is because it felt different. That's why I enjoyed the Arknights Endfield. They only had alpha test, to be fair, right? So we'll see what they end up cooking next closed beta. If they ever do like beta testing, because they only did alpha testing. But yeah, it's that, the combat, and then the factory shit. Oh wait, I was saying that's the normal Arknights. The resources, I don't know how they're gonna do the resources. However, I did enjoy the progression system on the resources. I'm actually a little bit worried though how they're gonna make it live service, because what I felt on Enfield was that they developed the game to be a single player first before thinking that it's a live service. That's what I felt on Enfield. It felt like a single player RPG, one full main story, and then the gacha and live service aspect is kind of like a secondary priority for them, which I think it's good. I think that's actually good, but I do wonder how it's gonna feel like in the long term. That's what I'm not sure of. However, what I felt like on the progression, it was pretty fun. It's a good thing, yeah. I do think so, yeah. Is Arknight Enfield better combat wise in comparison? I had to think more in the Arknights Endfield combat. However, that was also just at the beginning. Arknights Endfield did not show any end game like potential or end game combat when I played it, because it was just the technical. It was an alpha technical, so it was like them trying to make sure that they're heading on the right direction. Should they start continuing doing that? Did they gave like sample boss. I wonder if I can find the final boss one. Oh yeah, this I think it was this one. I can't remember. Oh, this one. It was definitely not spammy a lot, because I actually had to like make sure to group up. Oh yeah, I had to jump there because the boss was doing mechanics. Let's see. Yeah, boss had a lot more mechanic time in there. Jump. Oh, yeah, I had to. So it's a lot less spammy. Like, I mean, obviously you could totally spam, but it's more about finding opportunity to start attacking, because you do want to land your skills too. Because again, of the stagger bar, it feels like an MMO fight. Kind of does, actually. Maybe that's also why I kind of enjoyed it. It could, because it wasn't like spammy. It wasn't about spamming. It wasn't about like, oh, you just like try to dodge. Yeah, actually, now that you mention it, it does feel like MMO fight. Yeah, and I had to like time. Yeah, that's on my burst. Oh, the shield is about to be down. To get that shield down. Alright, shield down. Ooh. Okay, I think there's like phase 2 here. I'm almost positive there's phase 2 here. Yeah. Hold up. Let's see. Yep, that's phase 2. That was phase 1. I think I enjoyed this phase 2. Hold up. Let's see. I honestly don't remember the fight. Oh, it became invisible. You see what I'm saying? Like how it's not like about spamming, because like, yeah, the boss doesn't just stand there and do nothing. It tries to actually like get away from you. Oh yeah, freaking that near thing. Yeah, so that's kind of like the combat for um the Arknights Endfield. I don't know what happened there. Oh yeah, I remember this. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, it's doing some mechanics. You see, I just remember I really enjoyed this boss fight. But yeah, and the thing is like, you're not gonna be doing that kind of thing in Wuthering Waves and ZZZ. They want you to be constantly mashing buttons and then like just spamming that parry and dodge. And because you don't have that parry and dodge, you have to constantly try to save your skills. And yeah, this is the point where I actually had to use like, yeah, sometimes I had to jump and try to find opportunities. Oh yeah, you get stuck in that, and if you didn't jump away from it, yeah, you would get damaged by that. Mash buttons give me dopamine, Sky. Yeah, this is why I actually can't wait for the Arknights Endfield, because again, it's like, it's different. It's different from how you do fights in Genshin. It's different from how you do fights in Wuthering Waves and even ZZZ. It's different, right? And that's why I actually like the combat system in Arknights Endfield more, even though that it didn't have like the traditional like dodge and parry system.